Even I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yeah,
So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. We're going to start this episode off a little bit different. So the first 10 seconds we're going to dedicate to the amount of signings the Dallas Cowboys had. And so now we're going to keep going with everything else that's gone on in the NFL world, and just in the financial world. But Steven, how you been? How's life going?
it's good, man. We were talking about this before we get jumped on, but I'm gonna stop in this Italian restaurant. Get
Okay.
get a to-go cup of water, hopefully. So I'm listening, but bear with me while I try and do this.
Nah, you're good. So we have a lot that we're going to kind of dive into just for starters. I do want to let everyone know I did start a new segment called Rolling with Hayes. So everyone that knows, I got a new job. I'm working with another set of homies. So at this place, I have a decent drive. So I've started to kind of take this time to let everyone know either about different crypto things that are going on or different things in the sports world. Done 4 different episodes. So it'll be in the same YouTube that we've been covering everything with. I'll also be posting it on both of the Twitters, but essentially it's a way to kind of just deep dive into everything that we kind of talk about here. For example, last episode, I did talk about what happened in the NCAA with women's basketball. Everyone knows what happened with South Carolina and LSU, but then also kind of dove into who the top number one seeds are so far on the women's side. I'm bringing up the women's first because everyone has started to realize there's not really shit that's going on the men's side. There's players, but I promise you, most people probably know Don Staley. Then they know either Zach Edey or someone like the other players that are going on, and Caitlin Clark. So the number one seeds so far on the women's are Iowa got it, of course. Um, and that's kind of South Carolina got one as well, and just kind of they're figuring out the final one. There is another one, but those are the main two that a lot of people care about. I don't want to bore everyone with every single one because you basically care about either UConn, LSU, Iowa, or South Carolina. Sometimes Stanford people care about as well. Oh, USC is another one, and that's a team that a lot of people need to focus in on because Juju Watkins is nice there. But that's not the topic of any of these conversations. That's kind of what happened in one of the episodes. Two of the other ones we talked about crypto stuff, so example like NFTs and different things of that nature. And I did that a lot because today's episode is really just going to be NFL. And our hot take for this week is which was the better signing on the offensive side? Saquon Barkley to the Eagles or Derrick Henry to the Ravens?
I think I really want to say Barkley to the Eagles, but I think um, eh, I think probably Derrick Henry
Mm-hmm.
to the Ravens because I don't think that's gonna change their offense as much as Barkley will with the Eagles. Now they're not going to change it significantly because they still have two dope receivers and AJ
Mm-hmm.
Brown and Devontae Smith. But I think Barkley brings like that Christian McCaffrey element. But Derrick Henry, as we saw against the Chiefs, the Ravens just stopped running the ball.
Yeah.
But when you have a guy like that who can, you know, who can get you those yards, and Derrick Henry's what, like, is he 30 yet?
30.
Is he really? So
Yeah,
yeah,
birthday
he's
January.
running back wise, he's got a handful more years, you would think in theory, but um, I don't think. I jokingly said to someone today, give it like 3 games, and they're going to complain about he's taking away carries from Lamar Jackson, which
Jackson.
they're
Yeah.
not going to let that happen. But this is another thing where like it it saves Lamar Jackson
Mm-hmm.
potentially, one or two hits a game. Um, Now I think they'll still be using it, obviously, but they're going to have like that RPO attack. Same thing with Philly. I think he'll definitely benefit from it. Um, and if Barkley stays healthy, I think more so in this case, Barkley than Derrick Henry. If Barkley stays healthy, that gives them that Christian McCaffrey element that Derrick Henry won't give you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot to say, but I think Derrick Henry, just because I think that just makes them way more dangerous come playoff time. But I love both signings. And here's the thing: the NFL for me is different. I don't know how you feel about this, but like I hate Ohio State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hate Michigan, hate Pitt,
I know
all the teams
exactly
I'm
what you're
supposed
gonna say.
yeah, all the teams I'm supposed to hate. It's so like Now I don't hate him as much, but I hated Justin Fields when he was at Ohio State, right? Not because he went to Ohio State, obviously, but like my guy, you can transfer anywhere you want. I mean, you
Hmm.
had to, there's 123 D1 teams. You had to transfer Penn State. I mean, honestly, dude. I mean, to
Yeah.
Ohio State. So I think that sucks. But like Derek, like I'm a Steelers fan, so Derek Henry going to the Ravens should make me super pissed. But like I could give two shits less about it, dude.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like like for as a football fan, that's an incredible signing, and they're not paying him that much.
No.
Like Barkley got what he wanted from Philly. He got his running back money, but they're not paying him that much money. The Ravens aren't. So yeah, I think it only helps them. But on paper, I'm gonna go with the Derrick Henry over Saquon Barkley for now.
So a couple people were texting me, but then also asking me like on Twitter, what put it in like NBA terms, what this signing of Derrick Henry is to the Ravens. And the only one that just came to mind was Chris Paul when he was supposed to go to the Lakers, but it didn't happen.
Right.
And it's because Derrick Henry went to the perfect team. Like there was no other team that was so obvious. He's going to fill that Gus Edwards role
And
and
then
then
some.
some. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like that
Uh-huh.
Justin Hill role and then some. And then the big thing is, someone was saying like how many touchdowns do you think he's going to get this year? Someone said 20. I was like, I'm going to go conservative and say 15. Like all
Ooh,
those one,
that's a even 15 is a high number, you know?
yeah. And the only reason why I say that type of amount is because look at all the amount of touchdowns Gus Edwards had last year at the 1 yard line. Yeah, some of it was they kind of just fell there. But what people do not understand is you have Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, and Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Now you have finger pointing only on one person, Lamar Jackson. If anything goes wrong, it's Lamar Jackson. Same thing with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, I don't care what anyone says, they should have the most pressure on them. One, because they make that dumb money. And two, you have everything you need on offense.
Hmm.
This is honestly like the red carpet rolled out for you. They both have it. You have stellar running backs. Derrick Henry easily is going to be a Hall of Famer. Saquon Barkley is trying to prove that. But you have wide receivers. Then the Eagles have a tight end that's good too. So that's kind of the big thing over there. I do want to bring it to the other team in Pennsylvania, though. And
Yeah.
there was a big trade actually before we got on the air, and they traded Deontay Johnson to the
Yeah.
Panthers. For
That's fine with
starters,
me.
the Panthers are stupid because I don't know why you did this type of trade, but yet you had DJ Moore a couple years ago. So you're accepting what you did wrong before. But with this, I think it's fine because you know what time it is now in Pittsburgh. You have a number one receivers, like no if
Yep.
answered buts.
Yep.
So Russell Wilson
Yep.
should know exactly where the ball goes. But again, the finger pointing is on one person, Russell Wilson. This is your third time's the charm. But what are
Yep.
your thoughts on this trade that happened and also Patrick Queen?
Yeah. Also the Patrick Queen stuff. That's super dope. I'm
Uh-huh.
super pumped about that. That's defensively, man, and he was all pro last year behind
Mm-hmm.
Roquan Smith. And that's gonna be his linebacker room.
Mm-hmm.
But you add him in, Alex Highsmith played really well last year. Obviously TJ Watt, coulda, shoulda, woulda won the defensive MVP, but we all know what he does. The defense is getting older in some areas though. They gotta get some help on the back end. But I think Patrick Queen, this is one of those. All right, I did my thing last year. I was behind Roquan Smith, another elite linebacker. Now let me
Mm-hmm.
go do my thing, and he's only 25.
Yes,
Like so,
I know.
I love the youth movement. Pittsburgh's doing. Russell Wilson though, like so, I'll say it through the lens of a Steelers fan, which I think would be a general sense for the NFL as a whole. I love it. I think it's great. I think you're not paying him anything. You're paying him $1.2 million. I'm sure there's going to be incentives and bonuses and whatnot, playoff checks if you get that far. Yeah, like that's great. But that's for everybody else too.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not paying him the $39 million that the Broncos are. So shout out to the Broncos for that one.
Shout out.
Yeah, and you're getting he's 32 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can't be that old. You have a computer, you can double check that, but I don't think he's that old. Maybe 35 at the most. But regardless, this is a
35.
like yeah. Okay, so he's probably got if he stays healthy, that's the other thing. We'll get to that. But if he stays healthy, he's probably got another 3 or 4 good seasons. And I think that's what they're banking on. A proven
Mm-hmm.
year. And sign a 2 or 3 year deal and finish out your career in Pittsburgh and see what happens. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's no risk to it. Like if he doesn't do it, if he doesn't do what you think, all right, that's $1.2 million. Not terrible. And sure, I don't like Kenny Pickett as our starting quarterback, but like he's very serviceable as a backup. Like I think that's
Yeah.
gonna be a given. So like it's not the worst thing in the world. Um, I also think like this is a drastic upgrade from Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. You're getting a Pro Bowl, Super Bowl winning quarterback
Mm-hmm.
who over the last 10 years has been one of the better quarterbacks, I think, consistently. Now, is he like an elite quarterback? I think there was a point in time where he was in that conversation. He was definitely an MVP caliber guy. I know we had an elite defense, a Hall of Fame defense behind him for a number of years, but you still got to go out and make those throws. I say it every single season for every single game. Still got to go out and do it. Got to make the throws, and he did it more times than not. Now, the other thing is he's perfect for Pittsburgh and like the AFC North. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's tough as shit. I know he gets a bad rep for being corny, all that stuff. I've heard from people who were on the team that he is who he is. Like that's who he is. But he owns it. I mean, he's a good dude. But he is
Mm-hmm.
tough as shit, dude. He is tough as shit. We have all seen him take an absolute beating during
Yes.
during the season and just get absolutely rocked. But that man gets up and just goes on to the next play and just he's a dog, man. And you can say what you want about him. People can say whatever, but he's a dog. So I mean, I'm super pumped. Yeah, we know there's no more Deontay Johnson. That's fine with me. He dropped a lot. Um, but George Pickens, is he going to be DK Metcalf like Wilson had out there? No, different bodies, but I think he can be the same type of dynamic player where he can get you 4 yards if needed, or you can take it to the house on like a 10 yard slant and go to the house 80 yards. So he got now that you have him. Oh, dude, this guy is running without shoes on. Oh my God, this guy is coming down and he's not wearing shoes and he's running. Oh, what? Oh God. Now that you the things you see outside, right? Now that
Yeah.
you have your quarterback, and it's before the draft, and I'm sure this like look, and also I want to give credit to myself. I've been saying this for 3 years now that Russell Wilson will be great in Pittsburgh. I've been saying it since the end of his tenure in Seattle
Mm-hmm.
and then on in Denver. I'm like, this man needs to land somewhere. They got to trade him or he'll be a free agent. Pittsburgh
Send
is
them
going to be
there.
perfect. Um, so, but yeah, I think it's great. Now you gotta go get your offensive line shirted up and keep him healthy. If you can keep him healthy, can you beat Baltimore? Yeah, I think you can, obviously, because you never know what you're gonna get with Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. Um, so the defense, TJ Watt, he's got to stay healthy, obviously. Patrick Queen, like I just mentioned, great addition to that team. Joey Porter Jr. might be the guy in the secondary, shot at Penn State.
Shout out.
So yeah, I think I mean, there's no risk in this signing if you're the Steelers. And if people say otherwise, I don't really know if I can trust them.
2 million. That's all you're paying someone.
$1.2 million, dude. Yeah, like
1.2.
nothing.
That's it.
Dude, nothing for a I think like a 5-time Pro Bowl, Super Bowl winning quarterback and
Mm-hmm.
one of the better thrower. I mean, yeah, he knows he's getting the $39 million from the Broncos.
Only
So
in
like, yeah,
sports, I
sure.
swear.
Yeah, bro. Only in
Like,
sports. Can you go to another organization? Go from like one company to the next, and the other company is still paying you to not work for them, and they're paying
yes.
you almost like almost $40 million.
Mm-hmm.
And the company you're going to is like, all right, we're not going to pay you anywhere near that. And we're going to
Yep.
give you a 1 year deal, but it doesn't matter because this company is still paying you $39 million because they're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
only
knew
in
it.
sports, dude.
So break it down.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
Steven was saying is the more the Steelers would have paid, the less the Broncos would have had to pay. And that's business 101. Why are you going to pay more if you don't have to? Like everyone was like, nah, we're good. Like
And
we're not.
also, the Steelers now have, well, this is before the Patrick Queen deal. I don't know what he's making a year, but um, they have they had almost $28 million in cap space.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, that's another big thing. And like, I'm sure Patrick Queen will be making upwards of 10 mil a year, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that still like leaves you a really good amount of money to, the Steelers are gonna be drafting low 20s in the draft. So see how that goes. Um, and you have to pay Najee Harris or Jalen Warren sometime soon. You got to figure out what that direction is going to go. Fryermuth, if he
Queen
stays
got
healthy,
3 year, 41 million.
okay, so that's fine. That's fair. I give him that. He was an all pro linebacker last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're gonna have to choose between Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. Um, good tight ends. Pat Fryermuth. I think you gotta get someone else to go with George Pickens. But yeah, he's the number one receiver. So I love the Russell Wilson sign, dude. I saw that and I was like, thank God, man, thank
Yeah.
God.
You
Because
can't get mad at that.
Kenny Pickett is hot garbage, dude. Like
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was a bad pick when they first did it. Everyone knew it.
That was a terrible draft class
Oh,
for
for quarterbacks, yeah,
quarterbacks.
dude, that was dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I want to
dog
run
shit.
something off for all of us just to talk about. So clearly, everyone focused on the running back position, and something that they were crediting this to is the running back class in college football this year isn't going to be as strong, and you knew you didn't have to pay as much for the running back. So Saquon went to the Eagles, Derrick Henry went to the Ravens, Josh Jacobs, which was a big one, went to the Packers, and then Aaron Jones on his revenge tour, which Steven was talking about, how like certain teams, like you can't get mad when they just sign with rival teams, but this was like the revenge year for half of these players. Like we're gonna go to the
Yeah,
team that let us
facts,
go. Like
facts.
Aaron Jones choosing the Vikings, Patrick Queen choosing the Steelers. Then you have Jordan Poyer choosing the Dolphins. They're doing this for a reason. You could choose any team, and you said, "Nah, we're going to see the team that we just got rid of us." So Aaron Jones to the Vikings, Joe Mixon to the Texans, Austin Eckler to the Commanders. And this is how you know Commanders fans just have it bad because they were excited to get Austin Eckler. And I'm just like, Austin Eckler isn't what he once was. Like, that's what you guys need to realize. And then DeAndre Swift to the Bears. Shout out to the Eagles for allowing DeAndre Swift to get a deal like that because I don't even think the Bears are going to use him the same way that the Eagles had used DeAndre Swift. Tony Pollard to the Titans, which brings up, I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do because Tony Pollard was good there. He got injured, which kind of messed it up. Devin Singletary to the Giants, Gus Edwards to the Chargers. That's something we'll talk about after I'm done. Zach Moss to the Bengals. I think the Bengals kind of messed up with that one because if y'all don't remember, Zach Moss was a backup when he was like in other different areas. So for him to go a little bit of a starter role with the Colts, shout out to Zach Moss for getting his money, but the Bengals kind of screwed the pooch on that one. Antonio Gibson to the Patriots. But the one I want to go back to is Gus Edwards to the Chargers. Do you believe Blake Corum is going to be a running back going to the Chargers?
Um, ooh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. Yeah, that should tend to play out like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, um, I think. Well, we can talk about this later. But I think Blake Corum is going to be the next Mike Hart, and
Mm,
he's way more athletic than Mike Hart, faster, but I don't know. He's tiny, bro. He's like 5'8". Like
mm-hmm.
he's two bills, but like 5'8". He's not Darren Sproles.
No.
He's not Danny Tomlinson, like smaller guys. He's not that guy. Um, but we can talk about that once the draft gets closer. But yeah, the drafting your former running back or former quarterback, that always seems to happen. So I can see it happening for sure.
So the real hot take that I've had, and I've been waiting a minute to talk about this because they were talking about name quarterbacks should be in the GOAT conversation of the Hall of Fame. And I honestly agree with this. People fail to realize Kirk Cousin has played the whole NFL the greatest way possible. I don't know if there's another quarterback that has done it the way he's done it, and he has no Super Bowl rings or Super Bowl appearances to show for
Not
any
even
of
close.
this.
Not
Not
even
even
close.
close.
Not even
So
close.
his first year, well, he had the regular standard rookie deal. And then 2016, he got 19.9 guaranteed because you remember he got franchise tag 2017, 23.9 fully guaranteed franchise
Jeez.
tag. 2018, he got the 84 million fully guaranteed. 2020, 66 million fully guaranteed. 2022, 35 million fully guaranteed. 2024, He just got 150 mil with 100 million fully guaranteed. So his career earnings, they said through 2027 is going to be 411 million, of which 329 million is fully guaranteed, and he only has one playoff win in 12 years.
Man, that is a
When
finesse
I
game. Like we,
tell you, if I were to have a child, I would say be like Kirk Cousins. It don't matter what you do, but you played the system so well, and you went to three different teams,
that's
and he
a
was drafted after RG3.
yeah, that's a finesse game like we haven't seen in a long time. That's a Hall of Fame career.
It really is. Like you made that
Absolutely.
much, and that's like only in sports. Another moment that doesn't happen in the real world. The way all of this kind of shaken out,
No, no,
and that's
no,
kind of
you can't. No, you can't like be a subpar um worker and bounce from company to company and make hella bread like that. It just doesn't happen that way, dude. Like you can't be average at your job. Like if I left to go to another place and then another place, like that's not good look, dude. You can't just keep jumping from job to
no,
job. But he's jumping
no.
from job to job.
Yo, he
That's the
is,
same thing.
and he keeps getting more money at
More
these other
money,
jobs.
bro. He hasn't done shit.
No, and they
He has
see his
one more
resume.
play. Yeah, he has one more playoff win than you and I.
Exactly.
He had Justin Jefferson. He's had some really good talent around him, but he just hasn't done shit.
Hmm.
That's amazing.
So the final thing with this, because then I want to touch on the NBA some, and then kind of, oh yeah, we have one more thing after this. But who would you say is after day 1 and 2 of the tampering period of free agency, is that team that people should look out for?
Um, Shoot. I would probably say the AFC North. I
Hmm.
think, like I said in the beginning, I think the Eagles, obviously do. So a few teams made multiple signings, but those multiple signings don't equal a Saquon Barkley type of
No.
impact, a Derrick Henry type of impact, or a Russell Wilson type of impact. So um, I definitely think the AFC North got a whole lot better.
Hmm.
I don't know how much better the Ravens could have gotten, but I think the running back helped them. Um,
Hmm.
Steelers, again, you get your quarterback now, you can start building around him, and shore up the offensive line, do all those things. And with the healthy defense, yeah. The other thing that I wanted to mention about Russell Wilson and what he can do for the Steelers defense, I saw a tweet, yeah, today that made me so angry because it was so true. Like thinking about how bad Kenny Pickett was and how bad our offense was last year. Um, but shout out to Mason Rudolph though. I gotta give him a
Shout
shout
out.
out. I give him his flowers for this one. Like with that Steelers defense, they were on the field all the time because the
Hmm.
Steelers offense could not move the ball and they couldn't score points. Like they couldn't
Hmm.
do shit all season, no matter what. And
No.
the defense was on the field all the time, and they just got worn down in so many games because they were. And I say this, I've said this about Penn State before, but their defense was asked to play offense too and create turnovers like all the time when they didn't really have to, or when they shouldn't have had to. So I think Russell Wilson being able to be in there for, the Steelers would go minimal play drive after minimal play drive, and there's rarely like an 8, 9, 10, 11 play drive where with Russell Wilson, yeah, sure, he can hit the home run passes, but Najee Harris and those guys and nickel and diamond down the field with the tight ends and everything that allows the offense to stay on the field, allows the defense to stay on the field, stay healthy. It's basic humanity 101. But just something like I saw the other day and I was like, shit, like that's a very accurate point that how bad your quarterback is. Obviously, like your defense is gonna be on the field all the time because there's 30 outs and shit left and right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So shout out to that person who tweeted that. I don't know who it was, but it really pissed me off.
Shout out. No, that's kind of importance on the other side to it. Pay attention to the Texans. So the Texans have continued to
Yeah,
make
Daniil
different
Hunter too.
pickups. Yeah.
Big
So they
time, big
got
time.
they got Joe Mixon, which was a good one. Jeff Okuda coming out of college was solid. He definitely has some things he needs to prove over there. But that's kind of solid when Tank Dell comes back from his injury. That's big. Nico Collins is already good. Dalton Schultz is a serviceable tight end that they have there. And just like looking at the defense, you have two good cornerbacks right now. I
Mhm.
they won. First off, fuck the Jaguars, but they won the AFC South. So that's a
Mhm.
big thing. And the final part before I end up giving my speech about the Pittsburgh Steelers and my situation I had recently, Jameis
Mm.
Winston. So another only in sports moment where you can end up doing probably the dumbest thing in the world and ignoring your boss, and then you still
Yo,
still get a
that is
contract
that is that's
from
that's it.
another
That's it
team.
right there, man. That's it right there. No. You just you hit on that one. That's for sure. You blatantly ignored your boss, called an audible for the whole organization,
Yep.
the whole company, dude.
Hmm.
And wasn't he also whoever scored the touchdown? Didn't that guy get a bonus too?
Yes, he got a bonus.
Yeah. So you're costing the company more money as well. Not only this, did you blatantly not listen to your boss, you called your own shot
Yep.
in front of millions of people,
Hmm.
and you cost your company more money,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
got another job.
And you got another job. The other company said, you know what? We like this kid.
Yeah, we can use a guy like him.
We could use
He seems smart.
he's smart.
Like,
So
oh my god,
that
jeez,
was
only in
the
sports, dude.
that was the other thing. The final thing is, so I can start to announce this
Yeah. Okay.
because
First, real quick, it's also Jameis Winston.
Doug,
Like,
this
I
man
mean, he might
has
be
a
the goofiest
resume.
player. Yeah, he's got a resume, and it's not good.
Yes, from everything he's done is only in sports. Only in sports can you have a subpar year of averaging 20 and 20, and another team's like, you know what, we want you. What
Yeah,
you did just seemed good enough. And then he goes there and they're like, damn, you just did the same thing you did to your other company to us. We're gonna let you go. Another team said, you know, we've seen you do this stuff twice, but we just
hey,
like you.
ain't no way you're doing it 3 times.
And no, and no way it's
Ain't no
happening
way.
three times.
Nope.
So that was that.
Yeah.
The final thing in terms of the sports, I can announce this now. So as like everyone knows, I do a lot of digital stuff and I also buy and sell season tickets. I've been looking into buying Pittsburgh Steelers season tickets. I have to go through like
Shout out.
personal seating license. This one dude was selling a seating license for $6,500. Remember, that's important. So I said, all right, you know, these are perfect seats. Let me send an offer of $6,500. He rejected my offer, and it was the same offer that he put out there. And so then I said, all right, let me retract it. And then he says, hey, why did you retract your offer? You denied it. Like, what do you
Yeah,
want me
bro.
to do? So I don't
It's okay.
understand. And then another dude, I sent him an offer of 8,000 and then I retracted it. And then he said, hey, why did you retract it? And then he sold the tickets. Why are you guys asking me these questions if you end up selling them your damn self?
Yeah. Why are you asking if you know you're not gonna give me the tickets?
Exactly. So that was kind of that, but that's the sneaky thing that I'm doing. I want to get into like the Houston Texans and then the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll see kind of how that goes. One game, and this is the final thing with this, pay attention to that Eagles Ravens game in Baltimore. I think that's going to be a really big game for Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. I really think both of them are going to do well. I want to segue and use the last bit of time to talk about March Madness and Luca. So the first thing is Luca has 7+
Hmm.
games in a row of triple doubles,
Yeah.
20-point triple
Yeah.
doubles,
30 point.
30-point triple doubles. What are your thoughts on how Luca is? And after that, I want to get into the play-in scenario right now.
Okay. So I said this with Russell Westbrook when he was doing his thing with the triple doubles, which by the way, people still don't appreciate what he did.
Nope.
Um, 3 or 4 seasons averaging a triple double. Um, it's the same thing right now. Luca's so close to averaging a triple double too for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a couple more and he'll get it. But um, it's just like I don't know why people are not like giving him the credit that he probably deserves as like he's definitely a top 5 player in the league, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think if you're looking at it when everybody's healthy, I think maybe the reason why people aren't giving him you're good, go ahead. Dude, I'm on the other side of the street. I appreciate you though. I don't think people give him the credit because he doesn't play defense. I think that turns a lot of people off. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but no one plays defense in the NBA, so I'm
No.
not too sure what that's about. But yeah, the triple double thing, man, to do it that many consecutive games, so is like that's so hard to do. Like that's so like the rebounds, the points, we know he can get buckets. The assists, we know, but like the rebounds, man, to like that's so hard to do, and that's why what makes what Russell did so like so impressive that no one gives a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I want to segue into the play-in tournament as well. All right, if you're looking at the West,
Steven.
what?
No, go ahead. Yes.
Oh, I would say if you're looking at the West standing, the East is dog shit, by the way.
It is
Dog shit, bro. This is like early 2000s East West type of stuff. Like I guess I'll pick the Bucks. Like that's like I'm not picking the Sixers, not picking the Celtics. I'll pick the Bucks, I guess, right? If you're looking at the West though, um, out of the 10 teams that are in there right now, how many do you actually trust? Like, would you say you trust to win a title, or at least get to the finals?
two.
Maybe like I would say like five.
On the
I would
East
say like
or in general?
West.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the East is like the Bucks and everybody else. You think anyone's gonna pick the Magic? I mean, come on. Like I get it, but like no. So at the West, I would say the Nuggets. Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
I would trust the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
Because of Kawhi. Um, I would trust the Suns because of KD and Frank Vogel.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm trusting the Lakers because they have LeBron and AD, and they just recently won a title as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Darvin Ham will be the downfall of the Lakers, though. Everyone knows it.
Yep.
And I would trust the Warriors, obviously. They're probably low in the totem pole, but you know they still got um, Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond. You know they still got like that team, so they're fine. And I'd also put the Mavs in there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like, but I think the Mavs. I think that would be on Kyrie's shoulders more so than Luka's shoulders, because we know
Yeah.
what Luka can do, but we also know what Kyrie can do, and like we just haven't seen him do that in since the Cavs playoff run, really.
Yeah.
Um, so I would trust those teams, probably the Nuggets and the Lakers more than anybody else because of who they have on the team. But I'll put the Clippers up there as well. So, but the East sucks, dude. Ugh. Like
So
there's no.
I want to say
No, keep
two
going.
things with that whole thing. I've had so many conversations recently about the Western Conference and the play-in, and this is the greatest script possible that could have ever been written. For starters, every single NBA league official is praying that the Phoenix Suns can stay in that sixth spot. They don't want the Phoenix Suns to drop to seven because do you know how wild it'll be to have the Suns, the Mavericks, the Lakers, and the Warriors fighting for two spots? They don't want
And,
that. Like, they
and
don't.
yeah,
Now, who are you taking? Because right now you have the Kings, the Mavericks, Lakers, and Warriors. I've been telling everyone the Lakers have one spot locked up. You just have to figure out who do you want that other spot. The Mavericks or the Warriors. No offense. I don't think most people are going to care if the Kings don't make it. You'd rather have like
no,
the Mavericks or the Warriors. And which story is better? Kyrie and Luca, or do you want to have the Warriors last run?
right. And
So,
also that if it was the Suns, if the Suns somehow dropped down to the play-in tournament, that would be some of the best since it's only you'll be playing one, 2 games max. That would be some of
mhm.
the best basketball that you would see in a very, very long time
Yes.
because of all those players. But yeah, the league doesn't want two of those teams to not make it.
No.
That wouldn't be good for like I think the Mavs. I think the Mavs and probably the Suns, the league could do without. I think the league would want to keep the Lakers and the Warriors in there just because of you know who's on those teams.
Hmm.
But that would be some
So,
like that would be legit basketball.
yeah, that's the big thing that I think a lot of people should pay attention to now. There is a real shark killer over there on the East that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to. The Miami Heat are the greatest manipulators in the world because they're in
Mm.
that play-in area for a reason. They did the same damn thing last year, and look where it got them. So
Hmm.
they're fighting with that 7 and 8 seed. They can't drop to ninth. The Bulls are 19 and a half games behind, and the Heat are 15 games. So they're fighting with the Pacers and the Heat. If they win that 7-8 game or however it goes, they play the Bucks. You know they want the Bucks. Or if they wait long enough, because they're only 2 games behind the Sixers, you're playing the Cavs. So they
Is
know
Joel
what
Embiid
they're
coming back?
doing. That's TBD. They don't really
Mm.
know. So it's
Mm.
kind of one of those things of I know Pat Riley is one of the smartest people there are because they have them in the right position. They can move up all the way to 4 if they need to, or they can stay at 8. They have a team that can lock in to do it. So that's kind of the main thing that I wanted to bring up over there. The final part I want to touch on is March Madness. So by the time we meet next, everything should be set in stone in terms of the different seedings and where everything is. Before I send the mic to Steven, I do want to say part of the tournament for the women's is going to be in Albany, New York, the Sweet 16, depending on who the teams are that are there. My dad lives up there, so I would go to one of those games, but it has to be one of those top ones. If it's not one of those top ones, I don't give a damn. But who are you looking forward to, either player wise or team wise, on the men's side in the tournament?
Um, I I feel like we don't really know how good Houston is. I
Mhm.
mean they're dominating everybody, but like can they make a run? Yes. Purdue, is it finally Matt Painter's time to get a title? Probably not,
Mhm.
but can UConn repeat? They're deep. Yeah, I think, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Carolina guy, but Carolina looks good, man.
Mhm.
I think this is gonna be one of those things where like yes, it's gonna be a lot on Armando Bacot and RJ Davis, but my man Cormac Ryan, my
Yo,
guy,
he's 25.
my guy, Cormac Ryan. Man, you gotta love when a white dude tears up Duke like that.
Yes.
That's gotta feel good for him. That's funny, but I think this isn't like a very deep um field, like maybe it has been in years past. I feel like last year was
Mhm.
kind of wide open because we saw, you know, with the lowest seed, the best seed that made it was a what? The lowest seed that made it was a 5 seed, 4 seed.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't think that's gonna happen. I think those top 5 or 6 teams are really good. I think even Duke, even though they lost like they did to Carolina, I think they can make a run. Um, but Kentucky's playing good right now. Tennessee's kind of going in the wrong direction. So there's gonna be a few teams, but I do want to give a shout out really quick. Penn State basketball is not making the tournament, but Ace Baldwin won Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. So shout out
Oh,
to Ace
shout
Baldwin
out.
on that one. But I think it's going to be one of those like top 6 or 7 teams that probably wins it all. If I had to
Mhm.
pick, which I'm not going to right now, just like a guess, um, I'd say either I'm gonna go Houston or North Carolina. They're gonna be my 2
Mm.
picks right now. So we'll see how the conference tournament plays out and does all that stuff. But I'm picking Houston or Carolina right now because you got Carolina 2 years ago made the national title game, lost to Kansas. Last year didn't even make the tournament, and they had the same fucking team as they did this year.
They
And,
did.
and this year, so also shout out to Caleb Love too for
Shout out.
winning Pac-12 Player of the Year after
Oh, he's
transferring
on a
to.
revenge tour too.
He is. And RJ Davis won ACC Player of the Year. So they had 2 Player of the Years on the team last year, and they were not that good. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Houston and Carolina as of now, and then we'll talk on next Sunday.
Yeah. So something I think a lot of people should pay attention to. As of right now, there's 3 seeds that are locked in for the number one: Houston, UConn, Purdue, if they all, of course, win. That fourth seed, whoever wins the ACC is going to get it. If Duke ends up winning, Duke's going to end up getting that number one seed. If it's like North Carolina and Duke play each other, if Duke plays like, I don't know, Wake Forest, it's not going to have as much meaning behind it. But Duke's only 1 game in terms of the overall standings behind UNC. Like there's not much separating there. It's really where it comes down to is the ACC and kind of how everything shakes out. Those number twos are going to be big as to where it goes because if you put Arizona or if you put Kentucky up against like a
Mm,
Purdue, I really don't think Purdue's that good. It's still around
mm.
Zach Edey. And if you can find a way to do that, that's crazy. The other part people were talking about is, do you know that most known player in NCAA doesn't even start? Most people start to know Rob Dillingham. And that is crazy that people will hear Rob Dillingham's name and he
He
doesn't
doesn't
even
start.
start. He does not start.
Oh wow.
He's a six
Yo,
man.
who's that white dude from? Also, the kid from Indiana State. They need to make the tournament.
Yo.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Yo, yo, I cannot believe that. They said Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Um, who's
He
the
got
white
the
dude from Tennessee? He was the first team
oh
All-American.
Yeah, I know who you're
You know what I'm
talking
talking about?
about.
Yeah, he's nice. But it's like this is one of those years where there's a handful of like, you know, that first team All American team was nice. So I think it's one of those years where like guys like Zach Edey, RJ Davis, or like Armando Bacot, whatever, Filipowski, they need to be the one. Like this could be like a huge tournament for those types of players. And like, Zach Edey, he's gone, RJ Davis is gone, those types of guys. So we could really have some good basketball from like the players we want to see it from. Like when Michael
Hmm.
Beasley did his thing, or when Blake Griffin was doing his thing, KD, Carmelo, all those dudes. This could be one of those years where like the true
Dalton
All American
Connect.
players. Yeah, yeah, what a fucking white name. Oh yeah, even like that guy. So
Yep.
I think I'm really hoping that it's you know not four number one seeds, but you know what I mean, compared to last year. And we have some
Hmm.
really like extremely like talented players in the final four. That makes it, I don't know. You always like to see the upsets, but I think that makes it so much better to have those one or two seeds in there, and you're like, all right, this is like really good college basketball.
Yep. Yeah. So that's kind of the big thing that I want to pay attention to, just looking at what's going to happen with the tournament. Everyone knows all four number one seeds are not going to make it to the end. It never happens. Someone random always ends up taking it, but kind of close enough. What you got?
Um, Man, not much. We got so many things going on. Birthday parties,
Hmm.
um, sports all the time now. Now that it's spring, Mason's doing a ton. He's got basketball and football. Mia's got her thing going on. We got soccer coming up soon. We got baseball season starting soon. Um, I mean, little homie's an athlete, so
Hmm.
that's it's cool. But yeah, dude, kids are just a lot.
Yeah.
Kids are a lot, but they're good. And little man turns 5 next week.
Dang,
Um, so yeah, yeah, right. Big
that's
homie
crazy.
is yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's been a while, right? Like you know, you and I met what 10 years ago, give or take,
I know. I was thinking about
nine
that.
9 years ago, something like that. And I was freshly married. I was young. I
Yeah.
wasn't tired all the time. I was full of life.
2015.
Yeah, that's about right. It was right after I got married, so 9 years.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, 9 years later, I got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I'm exhausted all the time. My throat hurts all the time. My back hurts.
See?
I'm just beat down. I'm just beat down entering my prime right now. They say in athletes, only in sports can you say like your prime is 20, like a 4 year
In your
stretch. So,
20s.
they said 28 to 32 is an athlete's prime. So I'm turning 32 this year. So maybe this will be my year.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, that's all I got. Shout out to the kids.
shout out. So I have two. So the first one is Bitcoin hit 73,000. I'm going to be talking about it all the time because your boy knows that all these different events he's going to this year for Bitcoin and NFTs, that's going to be the talk of the town. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and this is I don't know if it's only in sports or it's a wild moment. I don't know if most people saw Nick Young talking to Gilbert Arenas about Jalen Green's baby mama. And that's some of the wildest stuff I ever heard. I'm not going to say the
Wild as
whole
shit, dude.
story on
Uh,
here, but for Gilbert to be like, yeah, he was in the backseat with, well, Nick Young saying he was in the backseat with his baby mama right now. And then when you think about it, Jalen Green was 3 when that happened. You can't.
Bruh. I mean, yeah. If
So
you don't know what Christian's talking about, go look it up. Well,
yeah,
like at your own risk, because it's like, come on, bro, really?
yeah. So that's kind of the wild stuff that happened because Jalen Green, you got, and there's no way to put it. Anthony Edwards, they said got, and then there were some other athletes that y'all just kind of got to be smarter than that because they know what they're doing, and then y'all think these contracts are for yourself. Nope, now they get half of it or however much for 18 years. But until next time, Patrick Queen to the Steelers, Derrick Henry to the Ravens. We out.
Peace.